Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Danger caps. Danger caps, son. Dogfish Head 120. Utopia barrel aged. Yeah, I've seen a couple beer tubers do this one. Mainly Joe from the Beer Patrol. And I was really intrigued by it, but it's not like where I am in Jersey, we get like the staple 120s and then like the staple worldwides. We don't see a ton of stuff unless I really kind of like look around for it. Lo and behold, I went to a place that I normally go to, and this popped up on the shelf, so I figured why not pick it up. Doing a little test run, a couple different settings on my camera, so hopefully this video comes through not too poopily. Trying to get rid of that, you know, when I hold stuff up like this, I pull it back, you get that big exposure kind of jump. I'm trying to refine that, so hopefully this alleviates some of those issues. Anyway, we've reviewed 120 several times on this channel, several different vintages. One of my favorite all-time ager of beers. But the last couple, like, newer Dogfish Head and, you know, Utopias and, like, just other ones, sometimes good, sometimes bad, a little bit shaky. We'll see where this one lands. Dogfish Head, 120-minute IPA, aging Utopia barrels, Imperial India Pale Ale, coming in at 70% alcohol by volume, so proper ABV for Dogfish Head. As far as their story time on the side here, it says, what you have here is a very special version of our 120-minute IPA. This beer was continually hopped over the entire boiled and aged for a year in freshly emptied Utopia barrels. Enjoy now or aged for a decade or so. Do we get a date on this? I think it's relatively new. It says D077-309-4511, whatever that means. I think it came out this year, at least in bottles. I know they probably experimentalized, because those are words, right? This beer at the brewery, so we'll see what's what. Label-wise, I really do dig it, man. You know, not that I hate on Dogfish Head labels. I think they do a really bang-up job on their stuff, but left a little in there. Usually, a smaller bottle would pour the whole thing. It's only 17%. But that kind of combination of the black and the green on the white and kind of stays true to what Dogfish Head has done in the past with their labels, but brings a little bit new pizzazz to it. So I can get down with it. Beer-wise, I mean, that looks the part of an aged 120. You know, 120 with a bit of age on it is kind of one of my favorite, like I said, ageable beers. It has a clarity to it that you typically don't get with that. Usually you're looking at something that has a little bit more. My light down. I'm kind of experimenting where my light sits on this too. Let's try it right there. Yeah, it has this kind of like clearness to it that usually has a little bit of murkiness going on, but it has that kind of tan, kind of khaki colored head. Looks like iced tea. Come on, let's not josh ourselves here. Let's get a nose. It smells pretty good. Yeah, it smells pretty good. It's really not that all that aggressive. You know, you kind of expect, you know, 120, especially a fresh 120, to kind of jump out at you with this huge kind of hop presence. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. There's a big hop presence here, but not necessarily like that freshy kind of 120. It's really a lot of barrel and a lot of kind of age vibes to it. A lot of vanilla. A ton of vanilla on this sucker. It comes off very much more like a whiskey barrel as opposed to Utopias, even though you can get that interchangeable flavors and notes from that. But it really does come off as, like, dare I say, closer to English barley wine to me than like a super crazy hopped up American barley wine, which is essentially what 120 is. That 17% booze is really well hidden. You know you're smelling something of super high ABV, but it's not like it's burning your nostrils off. That smells pretty damn awesome, to be perfectly honest with you. Gobs and gobs of vanilla, probably a ton of coconut in there in the taste. This nice hoppiness, but nothing over the top, and this rich kind of sugar daddy kind of maltiness that it really is kind of, for me, kind of a testament, or a, not even a testament, it's the worst word I could use, a prerequisite is probably how you say that word, to like really beautiful kind of barrel-aged beer. Just dive in. Cheers, y'all. That's really tasty. That's really tasty. I'm not going into this beer expecting to hate it. But with the track record of Dogfish Head and what they've produced, especially from the barrel aging program, they can be hit or miss, like I said at the get. But this is really freaking good. Has a really nice balance between the sticky sweetness of both the beer itself, or both the base beer itself, in combination with that nice kind of Utopias kind of age. Like for me, Utopia, if you've never had it before, is like almost a mixture between a really nice, well-aged bourbon and a cognac has kind of had a baby somewhere. It comes off kind of like that. So it's very much Utopias on the taste. Even on the nose, it came off more whiskey-like for me. And then you combine that malt base and that nice, beautiful Utopias kind of barrel sweetness from it. It's really quite nice. I'm getting actually like, it could be a combination of the aggressive hops, but there's like almost like a coconut barrel char thing going on here. Pretty sure barrel char is not really a big thing when it comes to Utopia. It's not like they're, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've had one. But it gives me this nice kind of bittering, spicy characteristic. Bittering, spicy kind of traits that I associate a lot with a big hop presence in combination with the barrel character. Beautiful mouthfeel. Very much what you want from like an English barley wine. And those hops, they're so hyper aggressive in 120, and you get that they existed here, but they've been so tempered, not just with the time that you're in the barrel, but the aggressiveness in which the barrel has treated the beer. And it's almost like that thing where it's like two wrongs don't make a right. You know, Utopias is not wrong. 120 is not wrong. That's probably the worst way for me to put it. But it's like such a hyper-aggressive bittering beer, and then you get this really kind of boozy, liquor-esque kind of deliciousness that it's Utopias, and they cancel out each other in a perfect way. Like you kind of like you hang your hat on that, you know, unless you're going to long haul age a 120, you're hanging hat on that aggressive kind of bittering portion of the show with that aggressive kind of just stance that 120s tend to take. And in Utopias, it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. It's a little bit more sultry, a little bit more kind of sexy in this kind of very kind of still spirit, but still kind of beer in a weird amalgamation of coconutty, delicious kind of vanilla whiskiness. And you're like, okay, which one's going to dominate here? Which one's going to be the leader in the clubhouse? Is it going to be the Utopias? Is it going to be the 120? And they almost come off exactly the same level of aggressiveness, but kind of tempered each other down to a level that it's like they're fighting each other, but they're fighting each other for the same position. We're starting to get off tangent here. But it really is kind of, I think, might be the best barrel-aged beer I've ever had from Dogfish Head. That's not a tall order. Again, their barrel aging program, for me at least, from what I've had from them, has been, you know, not all that memorable. I couldn't really even tell you about much of the barrel age program. Where they've really hung their hat is the Danger Cap, you know, with the old schools, the worldwides, original 120s, those kind of beers is really kind of where they have kind of impressed me over time. And when they've ever introduced a barrel, it's been a lot of like, well, it's fun, but I'm kind of getting a lesser version of the non-barrel aged, you know, version of the beer. This is opposite. It's almost like an accelerant for 120. You know, as someone who's coveted 120, has been a 120 fan, but with a lot of time on it, you know, years on them, to where they really kind of come into their own. It's been hard pressed for me to kind of really just get all on the 120 train, especially in the new ones, unless I'm going to take them and cobble them together and stick them in the back of the fridge and let them kind of sit there for forever. This, though, is kind of like a cheat code for that. And I kind of dig it. I think the marrying of the Utopias barrel and the 120 is a beautiful combination. I think the beer comes off really, really kind of mature. Really well played. Really well balanced. It's kind of like a 10-year-old 120, but with just an extra little pizzazz, a little sprinkle of deliciousness on top of it. That is not a bad thing. This is a very tasty beer. And I did not expect that. I'm glad I picked it up. Yeah, so what else do I have to say? Very much English barley wine. There's a hop presence here, but if I'm gonna, gun to my head, almost more like American strong ale kind of vibe. We just did one of those from Pariah Brewing. Kind of like, gun to my head, probably an American strong ale, a la kind of hair of the doggy, kind of the way the kind of hop presence still kind of comes through, but it kind of feels to me much more like an English barley wine than a rip-roaring American barley wine, which is essentially what 120 is. With there's this copious amounts of vanilla and coconut, like in barrel derived, not added addition, that kind of stuff. It's very much what you typically get from a barrel aged beer in a very beautiful way. Purposeful, meaningful, spirit level stuff from the Utopia liquor portion of the show. And the malt base and the bitterness, the hop presence of the 120 that was the base of the beer is still there. Even though all those bits and pieces of the accoutrements and the barrels and all those pieces have just aged it into something that I covet, which is an aged 120. Absolutely fantastic beer. Is it one of the better barrel-aged beers I've had? It's like, yes, it is. It is. It's absolutely fantastic. Value and availability on this is where it kind of takes a little bit of a dip unless you kind of think about it. $10.99. At first, you're like, God damn, man, I don't want to be paying $10.99. And as a single, I don't know what this went for in a 4-pack, but it was $10.99 on the shelf when I picked it up today. Actually, you know what? It was $9.99. They misrung it up, but I didn't say anything. Let's say for the sake of conversation, tax and all that stuff together, $11. I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to pay $11 for 120. If someone said, here's a 10-year-old Dogfish Head 120 for $10, but it's a special edition that was barrel aged, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll pay $11 for that. So honestly, the price point is not that bad, and that's as someone who wants the beer to be the price I want it to be, at first I kind of knee-jerked at it, but can't argue with tastiness and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like really old age 120s, you like whiskey barrel-aged beers, and you like Utopias, and you want all those things kind of amalgamated together. It's almost like you took like Sukaba in 120 and then just threw a dash of Utopias in there. It's kind of how it comes off to me. That does not suck. So if you like those things, you'll like this. Dogfish Head, have you been to the brewery? I've never been. Isn't that weird? A lot of you probably have. What's it like there? Have you had a bunch of their beers? Have you had this? Because I know they've released it kind of drips and drabs and at the brewery, but have you had the one at the brewery prior to this bottle release? Have you had this one? I assume this is the only batch. Have you had the other Utopia barrel-aged products? All that fun stuff. I want to know everything, down there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little Utopia's barrel-aged 120 right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.